When we decided to love each other from afar, I told myself that distance was just a detail. Kilometers, time zones, missed routines, none of that would matter if the feeling was real. I believed that love, when strong enough, could stretch without breaking. From the outside, our relationship looked modern, mature, almost admirable. Two people choosing commitment despite the odds. He thought he understood his mind, but what he didn't know was that a resource existed that could help him rebuild his life. You'll find it in the description and comments. At that moment, I wasn't questioning distance. I was questioning doubt and hiding it behind optimism. At first, everything felt intense. Conversations lasted hours. Messages were frequent, affectionate, full of promises. The absence created longing, and longing felt romantic. We learned to celebrate small moments, a good morning text, a late night call, a shared silence through a screen. But slowly, the cracks began to appear. Distance doesn't create problems. It amplifies what already exists. Misunderstandings lasted longer. Conflicts had no physical resolution. There were no hugs to soften words, no presence to reassure insecurity. I started wondering how much of our connection was real and how much was sustained by imagination. The conflict grew quietly. Time apart became emotional space instead of healthy independence. I noticed changes in tone, delays in responses, subtle emotional withdrawal. My mind filled the gaps with stories, some hopeful, others devastating. Anxiety became constant. I overanalyzed messages, read between lines that might not exist, and questioned my importance in their life. Was I still a priority or just a habit? Distance has a cruel way of turning silence into suspicion. And without realizing it, I started negotiating my needs to avoid conflict, afraid that asking for more would push them further away. The breaking point didn't come with betrayal or dramatic confrontation. It came with exhaustion, emotional exhaustion. I realized I was constantly waiting for messages, for calls, for reassurance, for the future to finally arrive. My life felt paused while theirs kept moving. That imbalance hurt. Love shouldn't feel like suspension. One night, after yet another call filled with affection but no clarity, I asked myself a question I had avoided for too long. Is this relationship helping me grow or teaching me how to endure absence? That question changed everything. I began to reflect honestly. Distance had taught me patience, communication, and emotional resilience, but it had also exposed my fear of abandonment, my tendency to overgive, and my difficulty expressing dissatisfaction. I realized that success in a long-distance relationship isn't measured by how long you last, but by how healthy you remain while lasting. Love can survive distance, but not at the cost of your mental health. Rebuilding meant redefining expectations. I stopped romanticizing suffering. I expressed my needs clearly, even when it felt uncomfortable. I learned that commitment requires more than affection. It requires alignment, effort, and shared vision. Whether the relationship succeeds or ends, distance forces truth to surface. It removes distractions and reveals intentions, and in that honesty, I found peace. I understood that choosing myself didn't mean failing at love. It meant respecting my emotional limits. In the end, my story wasn't purely a success or a failure. It was a lesson. Distance showed me who I was in love and who I became while loving. It taught me that relationships don't fail because of space, but because of avoidance, silence, and unmet needs. And sometimes the bravest act of love is admitting that connection alone is not enough. At the end of his journey, he discovered guidance and a resource that helped him face anxiety and rebuild his life. You can access it too. The link is in the description and comments. How to deal with toxic people and protect your mind and relationships became a reminder that protecting your emotional well-being is essential, even when love is involved. Not every ending is a loss, some are clarity. True freedom begins in the mind and only then appears in life. If this story resonated with you, like this video, subscribe to Lovey Mind, and continue exploring love, distance, and emotional truth with self-awareness.